2021 campaign platform for the NDP on climate change was the weakest we had seen in years. It was horrible.
It wouldn't be another day in Canada without more nonsense from Justin Trudeau. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David, and today's top story, we got a radio interview here from Justin Trudeau coming from Montreal, and he's clearly being just so burdened by Pierre Poilievre. The fact that Pierre is just dominating the polls, you can tell it is all consuming to Justin Trudeau's mind. It's all he can think about. Our top story here, we've got Justin Trudeau speaking to this Montreal radio station, CJAD 800 AM News Talk Radio. He's kind of starting to break, and he actually admits in this that he might be out of office soon. No, really. No headlines on this one. Probably closer to the end of my time as Prime Minister than I am to the beginning of my time as Prime Minister. You reflect on what actually gets done. I mean, so much of politics is the little things, the headlines, the, oh my God, did you hear what this minister said? Did you see what happened on that budget? But like the arc of the things that happen and that matter. And like I had the example of my dad, right, who got done official languages, who got done multiculturalism, and of course the charter. And those are the big things. Nobody remembered what he did on a Tuesday in late January of '76, where it was particularly difficulty and the difficultness and the headlines were screaming. Like, what are the things that matter? And I realized that that's sort of the thing that has always driven me. Like, buckle up, folks. He's about to tell us what matters and what he's done that matters.
What actually matters. And after almost 10 years in this job, even though there's lots of big things that we've done that have made a huge difference, like moving forward on the fight against climate change, strengthening the middle class in all sorts of ways, dealing with the pandemic, dealing with all sorts of big...
Strengthening the middle class and dealing with the pandemic. He did such a great job at all of these things. This guy's an absolute failure at all these things. This is his track record. This is what he thinks his legacy is.
People are still really hurting. And I'm in the business of trying to figure out the solutions that are going to help things a little bit at a time where people are not just skeptical, pretty cynical about anything and anyone in politics.
You know, it's funny you say that.
I mean, one of the challenges we face right now is, even though you get economists and politicians and people looking at the actual numbers saying, wow, the Canadian economy is one of the strongest in the G7 right now. Our debt is one of the lowest. The foreign investment is up. Like, more people are investing in Canada than in any other country other than China, other than Brazil and the US. And people say, like, yeah, but why then does it feel so crappy for me? And it's not just people who are known to be struggling. You've got families where you got like a doctor married to a lawyer, and they have, you know, kids in non-private schools but in good schools, and they're like, if I can't make ends meet right now, then the economy's not working for everyone. And there's a huge...
Trudeau just used an example of a doctor and a lawyer, and they can't make ends meet. Come on, man. Wake up and smell the roses here. Next up, Justin Trudeau blames Poilievre for his dark brilliance on getting people to think things are bad in Canada.
And on all these different programs, and that's why we're in trouble. And that's sort of the dark brilliance of Poilievre on this one, that he's managed to twist this around and convince people that confident countries shouldn't invest in themselves, that everything's broken, that everything's terrible right now. We have the lowest deficit amongst all advanced economies. We have an economy...
This guy seriously thinks that Poilievre's dark brilliance is that he's brainwashed us all into thinking things are bad, and things are not actually bad. They're amazing. Trudeau is just... Your dirty tactics didn't work, man. And everyone's living in poverty, or getting close to it, or sliding that direction.
Economy that is still rated AAA and a positive outlook, as opposed to the US that's a negative outlook. We have seen over the
US's GDP over the last decade has grown 19%. Canada's has done nothing. It's flat. Next up, Justin Trudeau's asked whether he ran thinking he would win.
You know, I'm kind of curious. If you go back, you've been Prime Minister now for a little over 9 years. Mm-hmm. When you first got into politics, what's that, 08, roughly?
08, 08.
Yeah. Could you ever have envisioned, and I know you won the leadership, I get all that, but could you ever have thought when you first got into it that one day I'm going to be Prime Minister of this country?
Yeah.
Were you thinking that?
I was. Because...
Of course Captain Schmuck was. Captain Narcissist. Oh, I'm number one. I'm number one.
Because for me, the decision to go into politics was undissociable from what my father's experience was. And the amazing thing, when I started politics in Papineau, it was all the learning I had to do about what it is to be a local MP, how to deal with this immigration case file, how to be there for the seniors, how to pull together community organizations to organize a food drive.
Oh, this is just, ugh. We're not listening to this. This guy's not there for anyone but himself. Next up, Justin Trudeau goes on a full-blown rant about the carbon tax, and he rips Jagmeet a new one.
It actually returns more money to middle class and people working hard to join the middle class. 8 out of 10.
I'm going to stop you there. Pierre Poilievre was on with Elias earlier today. Since we're talking carbon tax, I want you to hear this, and I want you to respond, because this seems to be the focal point of his campaign. Axe the tax, axe the tax, right? Here's what he said.
The carbon tax has deleted $25 billion of annual GDP. That works out to about $1,400 for every family in Canada, a number that is expected to skyrocket over the next 5.5 years as the NDP Liberal plan quadruples the tax to 61 cents a litre.
Okay. That's a lot of money if that's the case. Why? What's wrong in that?
It's not the case. And this is one, it's something, there's a convention around parliamentarians that we're not supposed to call each other liars. Pierre Poilievre is a liar. And this is the problem. And we're not supposed to call each other that.
He's been waiting that. He's been holding that for so long.
Let's call that out. But he knows full well. And the parliamentary budget officer proved this.
Oh, God.
8 out of 10 Canadians.
Still pushing this propaganda garbage. Absolute nonsense.
Get more money every 3 months from the Canada carbon rebate than it costs them with the extra price on pollution. So this is, and we knew this from the very beginning, that it was essential that for once Canada actually moves forward on a real plan to fight climate change, which we're doing, which emissions are coming down. We're on track to meet our targets. This is the first in Canada ever, but that we do it not in a way that puts the burden on the middle class. So we designed it to put more money in people's pockets and reduce emissions, and it's working.
It's not working. That's garbage. I just have more expensive gas living in BC. My food is more expensive. Home heating is more expensive. It's only cost me more money, a lot more money to live here, and I get nothing back. Same thing goes in Quebec. There's a chart that shows all the provinces. There's only like half of them that actually get those rebates, and people getting like ridiculous rebates. Someone even sent me a thing the other day, said they have a minus $90 rebate, as in they owe $90 to the carbon tax. How do they even measure this? I rode my bike to work for like years. I should be getting a big carbon tax rebate for that. Where's that? There's no way those rebates make any sense aside from just using some basic metrics. It's not based on anyone's lifestyle or riding your bike to work for years and only taking public transit, not owning a car. So the whole thing is stupid. The whole program is stupid. It's just a scam to take our money.
Pierre Poilievre won't talk about the Canada carbon rebate, won't talk about the numbers the parliamentary budget officer put forward. So it's a way of both fighting climate change and helping with affordability.
He says 5 years. He pointed that out in that clip, right? Saying down the road, 5 years from now, it's going to cost you even more. What changes from year to year in this plan?
Any price on pollution needs to increase steadily. But as the price on pollution increases, so does the rebate. And the way the rebate works is if you do buy a more fuel efficient car or an electric vehicle or redo your windows, you actually keep more of the rebate because you're spending less on fossil fuels to heat your car, or heat your home, or drive your car. It's actually a small c conservative idea to price the things you don't want and not use the heavy hands of regulation or subsidies. And we do regulations and subsidies, but it's the best way to fight climate change. And we all know that the Conservatives don't care about that and just jettison that idea. But the fact that Jagmeet Singh and the NDP have now turned their back on climate change. Now, I know, and like I've had lots of great conversations with Jagmeet. I know he cares about the environment, but I also know he doesn't have the foggiest idea of how to actually protect people, grow the economy, and fight climate change at the same time. He never has. The 2021 campaign platform for the NDP on climate change was the weakest we had seen in years. It was horrible. They don't have a plan to fight climate change. And I know the folks in Verdun, like all Montrealers, like indeed all progressives across this country, see climate change coming and know that it's not just a challenge for our kids and our forests and our world. It's the jobs and the economy of the future that we need to build around fighting climate change and creating innovative solutions. I
know you have to leave.
Wow, there you have it. Didn't think I'd see Trudeau ripping Jagmeet a new one. He's pissed about the coalition breakup there. He had plans to keep, those laundry machines running in the government there for another year, and now it doesn't seem so sure. So next up, he's asked about the by-election, and this was filmed just before the by-election, and you can see smug-faced Trudeau here is, he was a little too cocky.
Monday, by-election, people have asked the question, I don't know that there's a definitive answer to this. If the Liberals don't win, what does that mean for Justin Trudeau? Does anything change?
It means we've got even more work to do. But I am confident.
You're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. I've got a fight to lead against people who want to hurt this country, who want to hurt our communities, and who want to take the country in directions that, quite frankly, are exactly the opposite of where the world needs to go, but where Canada has incredible advantages. Our natural resources, our innovation, our AI.
The world has to go? He just said a lot there in a short amount of time against people who want to hurt our country. This is all he thinks about. He doesn't think about how he can make life good for Canada. He only thinks about his battle against Poilievre. That's all he sees here. That's all he brought up in this interview.
You know, you've taken a lot of body blows. There have been a lot of things said. I'm amazed. You've got to be pretty resilient, obviously, to be in this job to begin with. But there must be times when you hear this kind of stuff, even from within your own party sometimes, where you sit back and just look at this and go, is this worth it? Do I still want to do this?
Yeah, of course. There's always moments when you ask that question. But, what kind of person would I be if I gave up because suddenly it gets hard or people don't like me as much as they used to? I didn't get into this job because, I thought, well, this is great, I'll be popular. No. You serve this country because you believe in Canadian. And I'm excited about taking on Poilievre and showing Canadians that choice that they get about the kind of country we want to be.
Dude, Trudeau, you're getting obliterated by Poilievre. Next up, we got this story, which is pretty interesting. It says Vancouver daughter sues after mother leaves 82% of her assets to son, then claims gender bias and wins. How do Canadians feel about this?
When a Vancouver senior died and left most of her assets to her son, all but shutting out her daughter, a court battle ensued over gender bias in estate planning. CTV's Shannon Patterson now on what the judge ruled and why the plaintiff is hoping this case gives other women the courage to do what she did.
And this is a picture of my mom.
Ginny Lamb always knew her mother favored her older brother William and planned to leave him most of her assets.
My brother was the boy and he was going to inherit. And I did question her and I asked her, why is that? And she goes, well, because this is our Chinese custom and everything goes to the boy.
And when her mom died in 2021, that's exactly what happened.
My brother got over 82% of her estate and I got the difference of 18%.
Lamb was all but shut out, despite being her mother's primary caregiver in her final years. So she asked her brother,
how can you possibly say and feel okay with this just because you were born a boy? And he said, well, this is what mom wanted. And I said, I know this is what mom wanted, but you can change it. You have the power to change this. He goes, I'm not going to change it. And the last words he said to me was, lawyer up. And that's what I did.
Lamb took the case to Supreme Court, and a judge found she was unfairly excluded in her mother's will solely because of her gender.
It's not that the court found there was a difference in the diligence or the care that either child provided to their parent, rather that the household was this gendered household. And Mrs. Law, the deceased, held outdated beliefs as to what was the role and entitlements for a son versus the role and entitlements for a daughter.
The will was amended to give Lamb 85% ownership of the family home, but her inheritance is still nowhere close to her brother's.
Ginny's mother wanted to prefer her son, Ginny's brother, and she did. And so her autonomy in that regard is preserved. But what this decision gives us is some equity.
While the case has fractured her family, Lamb hopes her victory inspires other women to stand up for their rights under the law.
I have daughters as well, and I wanted to show them this is not your story. No one can tell you what your worth is just based on your gender.
Okay, let's break this down a little bit. So as someone who used to be a part of a Chinese family, my ex-wife is Chinese, I know all too well about this. The boy in the family, especially the oldest son, if there's multiple sons, they're the ones are going to get the majority of everything. But they're expected to take care of the parents in their old age, and they're supposed to take care of the family. Now, in this situation, suing based on gender just sounds like woke nonsense, woke Trudeau nonsense. Because if the mom wanted to leave it to the son, then that's her choice. And that sucks for the daughter. But the daughter should be entitled to some level of money or compensation coming from the years of taking care of the mother, which can often be pushed against the estate value of the estate being sold, etc. So she should get that. But suing based off of gender is just ridiculous. Now, I think it should be split 50-50. These customs that come from China are just dumb, and really they just tear families apart. They're dumb old traditions. I'm just going to say it as I think it is. Do I think she should have won that case? No. I think her brother should have said, yeah, let's just split this 50-50 and remain a family, because now she's lost a brother, the brother has lost a sister. She gets to 85% of the estate. The brother, it sounds like, probably got a ton more money that they can't come after. So he ended up way more. Plus he had the estate. The brother's just greedy, and the brother didn't take care of the mother. She did. So the whole thing is a convoluted mess. But let me know what you guys think down below. In my opinion, wills should stand and courts should have no say. This is a very bad precedent for anyone with a will in Canada act accordingly. Exactly. You shouldn't be able to say, well, gender this, gender that. The mother left the money. That sucks for the daughter. It sucks that the daughter was born into a culture that doesn't favor women, doesn't respect women in society. That's really what that is. I know that might ruffle some feathers, but it is. There's dumb things about Canadian culture. There's dumb things about all cultures. In Chinese culture, that's one of them. Just as this lady said here, it's Chinese culture to leave it to the son, but it's also Chinese culture that he is the one he's supposed to take care of his parents. WTF is even the point of a will then? Ridiculous. Yeah, like, well, then what is the point of a will? What, does that have any value then? Next up, we've got David Menzies here of Rebel News. We've got this QP leader, Fred Han. Remember this guy? Just for a little context, this guy's a liberal bootlicker. He's the head of the board of the QP Ontario. He posted a swimmer, a diver with the Star of David, diving into the water, and then there was a boom boom thing once he hit the water. It's a very insensitive image. He got blasted for it on social media. So we've got David Menzies from Rebel News heckling him here.
Hey, Mr. Han, how you doing today? Are you worried about using your cell phone or pager or walkie-talkie by any chance?
Could you get out of my way, please?
Oh, I'm not talking to you, sir.
You're in my way.
No, I'm not. Mr. Han? No? No? Mr. Han, given your sexual orientation, how well would you do in Gaza? Or would you stay in the closet in Gaza?
Right.
So if you don't follow that, anyone who's gay in Gaza, yeah, that's not a place you want to openly admit that.
The fact that you are at this counter demonstration, does that mean you agree with sexual? No, you're getting my way, sir. Do you agree with radicalized sex education for children?
You have a good day, sir. Thanks.
No, don't think so.
Have a good day.
Stop bumping into me, actually.
I'm walking perfectly.
Okay, then.
Thanks very much.
Mr. Han, can you answer any of these questions? Mr. Han?
Whoa, that was very aggressive.
Mr. Han, why do you think it's proper for you with a public sector union?
Why do you take money from Russia?
Sir, I can't hear you with your face diaper on.
Russia.
Why are so many of your allies?
He's talking about this guy back here. This guy.
And why are so many of your allies wearing face diapers? I thought COVID was over.
Sir, you're bumping right into
Okay, then. What I get from him is he just goes with the current thing that opposes common sense. I couldn't give two craps if he's gay, but does he grasp what the people in the Middle East would do to him? Make it make sense. Yeah, exactly. Jumping over to my group, let's see what memes we've got today. We got this here. It says something big is happening in Sweden. They're reducing foreign aid to prioritize their own citizens. Huh, interesting idea. They're reversing previous open border policies. They eliminated the UN 2030 global goals from government guidelines. They eliminated environmental taxes on fuel, energy, and plane tickets. They abandoned renewable energy targets and will instead build more nuclear reactors. It doesn't even seem real. They had to lose the country first, but the Swedes woke up. I think Pierre Poilievre is going to be doing a lot of these things like the nuclear reactors. He's spoken on a lot of this stuff. So in a year's time, we'll be heading down the right track ourselves. Can I buy a vowel? Canadian foreign aid to China nearly doubled in 2023, with the Trudeau Liberals sending $13 million to the country last year compared to $7.6 million in 2022. I bet China really needs that foreign aid. Definitely don't think Justin Trudeau is going to be stopping by after he gets kicked out of office and doing a couple briefcase handshake deals, which has nothing to do with that money. Definitely not. I mean, what is this garbage? China has their own money. Why would we send $1 to that country? Something stinks like laundry around here. Bank of Canada shelves idea for digital loonie. Central Bank has researched the digital currency for several years. Yeah, it looks like they're putting that away for now, which is good. We don't need to be controlled any further. We know what they do. They lock down the bank accounts when the people start criticizing the government. Oh yeah, I like that smell. So this interview where you had Peter Julian, he did look like he was kind of, it did look like he's sniffing Jagmeet, and really liking it. I don't know what this face he was doing in that interview is just weird. Things are getting interesting here as Justin Trudeau is incredibly burdened by Pierre Poilievre. It's all over this radio interview. You know, he said the dark brilliance of Pierre Poilievre. Oh, Canada's broken. No, Justin, is broken because of you, buddy. Your policies, what you've done, that's why it's broken. Trudeau's not going to step down. So are we going to really have to wait until February for Jagmeet to flip to get Trudeau out of power?